feature,
yeah.
who knows? Because this is an international story. Because of you both being here, I looked into the international files. Not covered by our Ministry of Defense, but maybe covered by yours. This took place in Arizona. An unidentified pilot, according to the press cuttings, flying near an airport in Arizona with his son when he spotted 6 lights in the night sky. So he called from the aeroplane to air traffic control to say, I'm seeing these lights here. I wasn't expecting any other planes. They're none supposed to be on my landing path. Can you tell me what's going on? They said there are no other planes. He said, I'm seeing 6 bright lights coming towards me. Mystery unresolved.
Except,
tail number for that plane was Bonanza 2 Tango Sierra, and I was the pilot.
no way.
Oliver and I.
So just take us back.
It doesn't say that in the briefing.
Oliver and I.
Or I should have read to the end.
Oliver and I were flying in. I was flying him to go see his girlfriend, and we were on approach, and I saw 6 lights over the airport in absolute uniform in a V shape, and Oliver said to me, I was just looking at him, and I was coming in. We're maybe a half a mile out, and Oliver said, "Pa, what are those lights?" And I then it kind of like came out of my reverie, and I said, "I don't know what they are." I said, he said, "Are we okay here?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna call him," and I reported it. And they said, "We're not painting anything. We don't show anything." I said, "Well, okay, I'm gonna declare it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's 6 objects." We landed. I taxied, dropped him off, took off, went back to LA. Never said a word. He never said a word. I never thought of it. 2 years later, Goldie is watching a television show when I came home.
Yeah.
And the show is on UFOs. But as I came home, "Hey, honey, how's it going?" And I'm kind of hearing the TV going, and I stopped and I started watching, and it was on that event. Now, that was the most viewed UFO event. Over 20,000 people saw that. And I'm watching this, and I'm feeling like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's like, why do I know this? You know what? And it's not clear to me. And finally, I said, then they said the pilot reported it. A general aviation pilot reported it on landing. I'd never thought of it since then, and I said, that was me. That was me. And I said, wait a minute, I'll go to my logbooks. So I went to my logbooks, and there was the flight at that time, and I didn't mention anything about the UFO. The fascinating part of that to me is that it just went literally out of my head. And Oliver never mentioned it. And had I not seen that show, I'd have never thought of it again.
Amazing.
Now, that to me was the weird part.
Believe it now, Chris? Yes.
Yes.
I'm convinced.
Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. An amazing revelation has just come to light, as you guys just saw, and what an amazing story it is. Now, just to put into context what just happened in this interview, basically, we have the world-famous American actor Kurt Russell, well known for his movies throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the 2000s. He's been in recent movies, and in this interview, he has just broken his 20-year silence about witnessing firsthand the United States' biggest ever mass UFO sighting, aka the Phoenix Lights, which apparently Kurt Russell, along with his son, got to see firsthand while flying in a plane above Arizona at the time that they appeared. And he revealed all of this on the BBC One show as he was interviewed with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 co-star Chris Pratt. And so the host of this show, Giles Brandreth, recounted the story of an unidentified pilot who was flying in his private aircraft with his son near the airport in Phoenix. So this report has always existed. They've just never known who this mystery pilot was. And I think it's pretty mind-blowing that it turns out to be none other than Kurt Russell. And so according to this original anonymous report, the pilot said that he had spotted 6 lights in the night sky and reported this to the control tower to find out what was going on. And that's when we hear Russell recite the tail number for the plane as Bonanza 2 Tango Sierra. and that he was the pilot. And he really does give an amazing account of what happened that day. He recalled flying over Phoenix and on approach witnessing 6 lights hovering near the airport in an absolutely uniform V shape, just as everyone else witnessed it in the original 1997 footage that you're seeing here. Russell further stated that Control Tower said that they did not see anything on radar, which is obviously very common with many UFO sightings. They do not show up on radar. And as many of you likely know, the Phoenix Lights incident was one of the most viewed UFO event in our history, with over 20,000 people witnessing it. And for those of you who don't know about the Phoenix Lights, or maybe weren't alive then, or are new to this research, well, that's what you're watching here. This occurred over Phoenix, Arizona in the United States on Thursday, March 13th, 1997, where a V-shaped formation of lights appeared one by one in the sky and for a period of time hovered in place before moving over the city as thousands of people, frozen in suspense, watched this event unfold. And we have further testimony from those who actually got a better view of this object and said that yes, indeed, it was a solid black V-shaped object that was the size of 3 or 4 football fields. And since then, we have had various testimony and claims that have emerged of people who suffered memory loss and even numbness and paralysis during this sighting and have not spoken about it for years. And so there's a lot of controversy around just what indeed did happen that night. It seems we have a split right down the middle where we have one facet of people who believe that the lights that we're seeing in this footage here is the original V-shaped alien craft. And then we have another sector of people who believe that these lights here are not the craft and are in fact nothing more than military flares that were dropped after the original sighting occurred in order to take the public's focus off of what had happened and basically confuse them and make them think and mistake these flares for the actual ship. And so you'll hear various accounts. We have both sides that are extremely vehement that their theory is correct. We have one group who swear on the Bible that these lights in this video are not military flares. The way that they sit there in a perfect formation, they do not fall from the sky. And I would have to agree, I have never seen flares simply hover in one spot in a tight formation, just as the thousands of eyewitness testimony described of the V-shaped craft. But, you know, I wouldn't put it past the military to do something like drop flares or attempt to create a diversion to take everyone's attention away from the actual craft. We know they've done this before. They will do anything to cover up a sighting. And so I think that this is an amazing revelation that we have none other than Kurt Russell, who, by the way, personally is one of my favorite actors. And not only because I just like his stuff, but he is a man of integrity. If you followed him through the years, he's not one of these Hollywood douchebags who are, you know, just a waste and a plague on society. This guy is the real deal. He's a good man. He's been with his wife for, 30 years or so. And I think that when you watch this video, you can see it in his eyes that what he witnessed that night was something unbelievable. And is likely why he's kept it to himself all of these years. Probably because if he brought it to the light, he knew that would maybe damage his career. But thankfully, we are now living in a time where, thanks to channels like ours and other researchers, this subject has been slowly easing and creeping its way into the mainstream media, into the homes of millions of people, and humanity is really starting to ask questions. People want to know. They are fascinated with this topic. It is no longer a subject of ridicule like it once was, or at least it's getting better by the day. So, amazing stuff. I think it's awesome that Mr. Russell has come forth and once further corroborated one of the most amazing and mind-boggling sightings in our history, and I think it speaks to the bigger picture of humanity's acceptance of this phenomenon and the seriousness of it. So with that, thank you guys for watching today. Be sure to share this video. Let's get it out there. Hit that subscribe button. And by the way, I still get a ton of messages from people who are not getting notifications when I post a new video. And I want you guys to remember that simply hitting the subscribe button is not enough. You go to my main channel, you hit the subscribe button, and next to it you will see a little icon that looks like a little bell. You have to click that and select Receive Notifications. That way you will receive an email when I post. But other than that, if you're still not receiving them, just frequently check back to the channel. I usually post a video every day. And follow me on Twitter because I always post a tweet when I'm about to post a new video. So thank you guys again, and have a great night, and I'll see you back in just a bit.